There's something deeply unsettling about being watched, not by a stranger you notice once in a crowded street, but by someone who quietly learns your routines, memorizes your habits, and waits for the perfect moment to appear. Most people think private investigators spend their days chasing criminals through dark alleys or cracking impossible mysteries. The reality is usually much less exciting. Hours of waiting, pages of notes, long drives, cold coffee. But every once in a while, a routine case takes a turn that no one expects. These are 3 cases. Story 1, The Investor. When I first met Emily, she looked like someone who had everything figured out. She had built a successful business from almost nothing and earned the respect of everyone around her. Investors trusted her. Employees admired her. Customers loved her. Looking at her, you'd never guess she barely slept. The reason had a name: Daniel. Years before, Daniel had been a regular customer at a bar where Emily worked. They became friends, briefly explored dating, and quickly agreed they were better off that way. Or at least Emily believed they had. Daniel was generous to a fault. Every visit ended with him paying for everyone's drinks and talking about business opportunities. He constantly offered to invest in Emily's future company. For years, she refused. Then her startup hit financial trouble. Running out of options, she finally accepted. At first, nothing changed. Then the phone calls started. Morning, afternoon, midnight, 3 in the morning. If she didn't answer immediately, another call came in. Then another. Soon the messages became accusations. Where are you? Who are you with? Why didn't you answer? Emily tried to ignore him, but things escalated. Friends reported seeing Daniel parked near her office. Dates mysteriously ended when an angry stranger appeared nearby. Once, after seeing another man hug Emily goodbye, Daniel caused such a public scene that everyone in the restaurant stopped eating just to watch. Emily no longer felt safe. She began checking behind her before unlocking her apartment. Every sound outside made her freeze. Every unfamiliar vehicle looked suspicious. Then, silence. Daniel disappeared. No messages, no calls, no sightings. Weeks turned into months. Months became years. Eventually, Emily moved into a new neighborhood and convinced herself it was finally over. Until one note. A loud knock echoed through the house. She looked through the curtains. A hooded figure stood perfectly still on her front porch. He didn't ring the bell again. He didn't shout. He simply waited. 20 long minutes, then vanished into the darkness. That phone call from Emily became my assignment. At first, the investigation led nowhere. Daniel wasn't even his real name. His addresses were fake. The expensive lifestyle he flaunted seemed to evaporate into thin air. It was as though he had erased himself. Several nights later, while watching Emily's home from across the street, I finally saw the hooded figure. The instant I stepped out of my car, he ran. The chase ended at the edge of dense woods, where visibility disappeared between towering trees. I returned at sunrise. Hidden deep among overgrown brush sat a crude wooden shelter, barely visible from the trail. Inside was an unbearable smell. Garbage covered the floor. Old blankets lined one wall, and sitting in the center, a mannequin. It wore a blonde wig. Cheap makeup had been smeared across its plastic face. Pinned to its chest was an old photograph of Emily, smiling beside Daniel, years earlier. Someone had recreated her. Someone had been talking to it. Police quietly surrounded the area. Hours later, a man emerged from the trees carrying grocery bags. Before entering the shelter, he greeted the mannequin like an old friend. The officers moved in. The arrest happened within seconds. It was Daniel. No one ever fully explained where he had been living, how he lost his money, or why he built that disturbing shrine. Emily later told me that the arrest didn't make her feel victorious, only relieved. Because some nightmares don't end when the monster is caught. They end only when you stop expecting another knock at the door.
Story 2. The basement. I have a terrible habit. If enough people tell me something is a good idea, I eventually believe them. That weakness nearly cost me everything. Convinced by friends that my fiancé might be cheating, I ignored common sense and searched online for a private investigator. I found one almost immediately. His name was Mark. He insisted on cash. He insisted on meeting in person. And from the moment we shook hands, something felt wrong. His questions weren't about my fiancée, they were about me. Where did I live? When was I home? Did I work nights? Was anyone else staying with me? Looking back, I wasn't hiring an investigator. I was handing personal information to a stranger. A week later, my phone buzzed at 1:16 a.m. Mark claimed he had urgent evidence and demanded I meet him immediately. The address led to a neglected house with no lights and no cars outside. Then came a text. The door is unlocked. Against every instinct, I walked inside. Another message appeared. We're in the basement. I opened the basement door. Pitch black. No voices. No footsteps. No office. Just darkness. Then another vibration. Are you coming down? My hand tightened around the railing. For several seconds, I stood completely still. Finally, I turned around and walked out. As I reached my car, one final message appeared. Good choice. The number disappeared forever. The listing vanished. And to this day, I have no idea who or what was waiting below those stairs.
Story 3. The man who wouldn't let go. Moving to a new city during lockdown was lonely. Dating apps became my only way to meet people. One match named Ryan seemed perfectly normal. We shared coffee, talked for hours, went on a couple more casual dates. But something never clicked. We drifted apart naturally, or so I thought. Weeks later, I noticed the same dark SUV outside my apartment several nights in a row. Then outside the grocery store, then outside a cafe. Inside that cafe sat a man pretending to scroll through his phone while repeatedly glancing in my direction. The feeling of being watched became impossible to ignore. When police questioned him outside my home, they returned with shocking news. He wasn't a stalker. He was a licensed private investigator. Someone had paid him to follow me. The mystery lingered for weeks. Then everything unraveled during a weekend hike. As my friend Ethan stepped into a restroom near the trailhead, a figure burst from the trees. Ryan. His expression was frantic. He grabbed my arm and insisted we were meant to be together, accusing me of betraying him despite the fact we had barely dated. I screamed. Ethan ran toward us. Ryan backed away, only when he realized witnesses were nearby. The investigation that followed revealed an unbelievable truth. Ryan had hired the investigator himself, falsely claiming we were a committed couple. Ironically, the investigator became suspicious of Ryan's behavior and documented concerns that later supported my request for legal protection. Without realizing it, the man hired to spy on me became one of the people who helped keep me safe. Ryan vanished shortly afterward. No messages, no social media. Nothing. Sometimes I still wonder if he ever drives past my neighborhood. And every now and then, when I notice an unfamiliar SUV parked across the street, I catch myself looking twice.
Outro. Most people imagine danger arriving loudly, with broken windows, alarms, or dramatic confrontations. Real danger is often quieter. It's the unanswered call, the unfamiliar car, the knock at the door that comes a little too late at night. And sometimes, the person watching you isn't hiding in the shadows. They've been standing in plain sight the whole time.